Tonight on the Three-Quarter Show, we have a delightful citation-needed story about a time that a Rio Grande caboose got very loose and the owners had to chase it down across the country. Now, let's go to the studio.
Guys, this is a very important moment. This is episode 3 of season 4 of the Three-Quarter Show. This is the only time we're gonna have 3 of 4, 3-4. Ah! Yeah. Anyways, what's up, guys? This is Heist. Yes, welcome back to season 4, now episode 3. Assuming we upload these in order, probably it's easier that way.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. Yes, Revenge of the Nerds. And today we're playing Citation Needed once again. This time leading Citation Needed. I didn't think of an intro.
Hi!
That guy!
The toll.
Rhett Beebles?
Yeah.
Rhett Beebles.
Son of your pilot Bob. Yes.
Yeah, son of Bob. Son of Pilot Bob, yes. Also joining us today, he's also secretly Bob, Leighton Moreland.
Robert Leighton Moreland.
It's true.
I got a name that says, man, he's white.
Man, he's white and he's gonna like choo-choo trains. Yeah. Bob, and it's like my big fat Greek wedding, but it's my big fat volunteers.
Bobby Yorkis.
Yeah.
You know who's not Bob?
Yes.
That guy.
Joel! Also back, once again, for season 4. And today we're playing Citation Needed, and this time Brett is going to be reading us a story from railroad history, making us 3 guess about the details, and whoever gets the most points wins. And I'll have to put in post that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't go.
You can't trigger it.
It goes.
Yeah, but when I do it, you say that you trigger a sign that says doofus. It points at me.
Why do they make it more work to edit this crap in? Because it's funny, that's why.
Yeah.
Anyways,
story.
It is 1988 in Denver, Colorado.
The Rio Grande rides again.
Kind of. The Rio Grande don't ride no more in 1988.
His fetish, the Southern Pacific.
Surprise! It's an SP story.
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
Ooh.
More or less. 1988, the Rio Grande buys out the Southern Pacific, and they become the Southern Pacific because
that was the more recognizable name across larger regions than just
Herman's Octopus rides again.
pretty much. And that handles for a few years. Is it 8 years they last? As
96. Yeah. He knows this. He has a story about this.
Yes, fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. My birthday is October 13th, 1987. The Rio Grande and the Southern Pacific merged on October 13th, 1988. Another fun fact. The UP and the SP merged on 9/11, 1996. My mother's birthday was also 9/11. Very interesting coincidence.
In 1996?
No, of course not.
With
the same dates.
That's like some weird Benjamin Button.
Yeah, very weird things. Like my birthday in the merger, my mom's birthday in a merger. Like very bizarre.
When's your dad's birthday? Was it CPKC?
That is July 22nd. Anything happen on July 22nd? Not that I know.
Sun rose.
Yeah, that's about it.
A hangover from July 21st?
Birds fly, grass grows, brother.
And the SP still doesn't exist.
So anyway, that lasts for a few years. The year that we're interested in for the beginning is 1994. What's going on in railroading in 1994?
I was born.
Okay, sure.
Mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
They're still running clapped out EMD clog iron garbage.
Yep. What are they not running?
Steam.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Cabooses.
you. Leighton gets it. This is a story about the demise of cabooses.
The Fred comes into existence.
This is a caboose story.
Is this the ride of the caboose from your model railroad club?
Mark gets a point.
Yes.
I don't think
I don't remember all the details.
It's actually not that caboose.
Okay.
Slightly different.
Okay.
So, yeah, 1994, the Rio Grande, at that point the SP, orders what they call a dismantle train to run from Denver to Pueblo, picking up all of the cabooses, caboose, whatever you want to call them, and bringing them to Pueblo
To die.
Yes.
Gets the point.
I was striking my torch.
You were striking your torch, but yes. The 2 subjects of our story are Rio Grande 01416, built 1941, and 01427, built 1942.
Okay.
They're yellow, picture caboose.
Yeah, 1483.
Yeah.
Shout out Patrick Caboose.
1400 series. And they're taken to Pueblo and sat in a deadline with the rest of them. The Rio Grande has a lot of cabooses at this point. They're not all destined for scrap just yet, because although the railroads are doing away with cabooses, this is a time of great change. They're beginning to bring in computers. They're beginning to phase out car track codes in certain applications. They're not sure where they want to keep caboose quite yet, because they still want them in yard service. In fact, in 1998, how many cabooses did the Rio Grande still have actively rostered in yard service?
200.
25.
112.
You're all going way too high. They had 10.
Okay.
Oh, well,
So-
it's impressive.
Yeah,
close.
that's a good number.
Like one Denver, one Junction, a couple
Pretty
in Utah,
much.
one in Alamo.
One in Pueblo at that point.
Yeah, and for the Grand, you know, I'm pretty sure that BNSF to this day has about 10, and that's the BNSF.
That comes up later, actually. Not on the not on the sniff, but on
Well, yeah, it would have been on the BN. Yeah.
Uncle Pete still uses a caboose based out of Denver to this day.
Okay.
That will be
The former
pertinent
snow bus?
in no way to our yes, the
All right.
snow bus.
Is it the one that got the recliner ratchet strapped to it that I would
was
put
a sniff caboose.
Those cars are still there.
So 1995, what's going on outside the railroad world?
I'm born.
Okay, outside of that. Okay, in the model train world, what's going on in 1995?
People are making blue box kits, and they cost $5 a piece. Mango goblins.
God, wouldn't it be nice?
Brass is still a thing. There's a lot of people importing stuff still.
The PBL foreground sound system 2 has been invented.
Joel, any guesses? You're all thinking really big.
Oh.
Local model railroad news. What happens?
Caboose Hobbies opens.
No.
Caboose Hobbies closes.
No.
Caboose Hobbies moves.
The Denver New Orleans Model Railroad Club is founded in Parker, Colorado.
Well, there you go.
They build a new building dedicated for their layout, and they decide they want a
Caboose.
out front.
Yes.
Yes, Mark, I'll give you a point for that. So they approach the Rio Grande because they're all good Colorado boys and they want a good Colorado caboose.
Naturally.
What does the Rio Grande say?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's okay. The Rio Grande says, yeah, okay, we've got this whole deadline of caboose in Pueblo. Take your pick. How many cabooses do they acquire?
3.
2. I think I've given that away.
Yeah, you did
actually,
give that away.
It's 2. They get 01416 and 01427.
Yes.
What is the plan with these cabooses that are in Pueblo? Bearing in mind that the Railroad Club is in Parker, which has not been rail connected since the 20s.
So they're going to get moved up to some point in Denver where they can get trucked, and one is going to get kept to be Fulmer Boner caboose on property, and the other is going to be somebody's fishing cabin.
I really wanted to give you a point. I'll give you a point for they're going to get moved up the railroad to a point and then trucked. Does anybody want to guess where
Castle Rock?
Mark gets a point. God, you guys are neck and neck on this. The plan is the Railroad Club's going to go down, pay for the labor, and assist in the labor to put a fresh COTNS on these caboose, move them from Pueblo up to Castle Rock where they'll be loaded onto trucks and taken over the hill. What is significant about the condition of these caboose, having been officially retired and put in a deadline?
They're in terrible condition.
Okay, sure.
They were just the last day in 85, whatever, when they stopped using the cabooses. Guys just walked away and expected to come back the next day.
Think in a logistics sense.
They probably have plane bearings still. Are they legal to go over the road?
No, they've got rollers on
They're
them.
rollers?
They've got
Okay.
rollers on them. In logistics sense, there are 2 key things about both of these cars sitting in a deadline.
Oh, they don't have owner tags.
They don't have their tags. And further on that, the car track codes are no longer valid.
Right, they've switched over to AEI and Umler. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and they've been written out of the system. There's no computer record of these cars.
These cars are invisible to the computers.
They
What
don't
else makes
exist.
them invisible? Their numbers have been written off the roster.
Oh, they still say DNRGW on the side and
So
the
they,
SP.
They
yeah.
say their numbers on the side of the caboose for, you can identify them, but as far as any dispatcher or schedule or equipment roster is concerned, these cars do not exist.
Cool.
This won't go wrong in any way, shape, or form.
Nope, this will not sound anything like Ed's story about the Double D just getting
Yes.
assigned to all of the trains.
Pretty much.
6,600 horsepower. Woo!
Send it!
And then it went there.
Yep. So the cars are gone through in Pueblo. They're ready for their journey. And the idea is they will be attached to a night freight train bound Pueblo north to Denver. They'll make an unscheduled stop and set these cars out in Castle Rock. From this point forward, the story gets a little fuzzy.
Okay.
What happens, or what is the best surmisation of what happens?
They make it to Castle Rock, but don't stop.
2 caboose do not make it to Castle Rock.
They don't leave Pueblo. They forget to put them on the train.
No, all 3 of you are actually incorrect.
Okay.
2 Caboose do make it to Castle Rock.
But they're the wrong numbers.
How many do they leave in Castle Rock?
1.
They leave 01416 in Castle Rock, and 01427 carries on to Denver. Does anybody want to have a stab at the reasoning for why that might be?
The conductor was nostalgic and wanted his goddamn caboose back.
Close, but no.
Okay.
Think about what I said earlier about the railroad is assigning...
They want it as a yard switch out of North Yard or Burnham or something.
So the thinking is that the conductor sees this and goes, why are we moving Caboose to Castle Rock?
There's no place for this.
They're probably just going there for storage. Meanwhile, they had just bumped one of the Caboose out of Denver that was, at that point, being used on the Wolcott local, which was a scrap and lumber train that ran south out of Denver and is still run as a local by UP. A local run by UP that to this day
Shoving platform caboose.
uses a caboose. They had decided they didn't want a caboose anymore on that, or they were going to try it without a caboose.
It went poorly.
The yard crews had decided that sucked, and so they thought...
20 plus years, or 30 years later almost, yeah.
Right, they thought, well, back in the 90s, they thought, well, we're down a caboose and we would like to have one back.
So they, okay, well, these car, yeah.
What's standing in our way?
That's just there for storage.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not in the system.
Nobody bought these.
We get points across the board. At this point, it was such common practice to have cabooses just kind of squirreled away in random places. These don't exist.
Literally an afterthought.
These don't have tags, these don't have numbers. We're just going to move it up to Denver. So what happens when the Railroad Club shows up in Castle Rock the next morning?
Where the are other cabooses?
Pretty much. What do you do in 1995?
Go to a payphone.
Who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
There's something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Go to Burnham Shops.
They presumably had a contact at Pueblo that they called again.
Point to Pueblo rather than Denver. They have no idea what's happened at this point. If you show up and only one of your cabooses has made it from Pueblo, you would assume that the other one is still in Pueblo.
Yeah.
They call Pueblo Yardmaster. What does Pueblo Yardmaster say?
No, both of those
No,
things
they're
left.
gone.
They're gone.
No, they're not here. They're on the back of the train.
No idea what you're talking about.
What's a caboose?
Yep. And so what do they do with that information?
Discern that it's been stolen.
They figure out who the conductor was on the night train.
They call it corporate in Denver.
No. That's thinking real high level. These are not people that are connected in any way.
They go looking for it.
Where do you go looking for it?
In North Yard or Burnham.
No.
Hartsburg.
Where'd you leave it?
Pueblo.
They go to Pueblo to look for it. What? And going to Pueblo, we will come to learn, is a little bit of a mistake. What does going to Pueblo do?
Piss
Mean
people
that
off.
no one's there to guard the other caboose that was left at Castle Rock.
No, that caboose has been loaded up and trucked at this point. It's no longer in the story. That was 01416, by the way.
And
It's
it is-
01427 that is
27's the bad kid.
in Ether. Yes. What does going to Pueblo do? Again, this is the age of slow information progression, no cell phones.
No one's there to receive a call from Pueblo back.
Kind of. More than anything, it wastes time.
Well, fair, yeah.
They go down to Pueblo to look for this caboose. Meanwhile, the sun has come up in Denver.
And it goes
there's a
out
new
on the
caboose in
local,
Denver.
and by the time they realize where their caboose is going to be, it's going to have been in service for a week. That's our caboose. You can't have it.
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's not that easy.
Okay.
The train gets to Denver, and they're over hours. Why?
Because they set out the other caboose.
Because they made an unscheduled stop in Castle Rock to set out the other caboose.
Well said.
So the freight train rolls into Denver. The crew does what?
Ties her down, says bye.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Yep.
Crew
Bye.
leaves. What does the switch crew do when they start taking this train apart?
Holy crap, a caboose.
Holy crap, a caboose! What do we do with that? What the hell do we do with this caboose?
This is our caboose now. We want a caboose.
There's nowhere to hide it. Denver Yard is full at this point. Remember, this is post-merger. Everything's chaos at this point. Burnham Yard is packed with locomotives. What do they do with the caboose?
Send it out on a local job.
Send it back to
What
Pueblo.
local job? Then it's just going to come back. We have to send it away somewhere.
Send it back to.
Well, they send it to
Send
Salt Lake.
Junction.
Send it to Pueblo?
Send it back to Pueblo, where all cabooses go to die.
Why is this here? It's scrap.
This is supposed to be scrapped. Its car track is no longer active. Its number is written off the roster. This should go to die.
I should have been able to buy this at a Dodge dealership by now.
So the Railroad Club has gone to Pueblo.
Yep.
And then while they're coming back up,
There goes their caboose on the other side, so they turn around.
Point to Joel.
Go get their caboose.
Found that!
Do they see it go by?
No.
Aww.
That would have been too good for this
That would have been
Where's our
caboose?
So the Railroad Club people hear from the yard crew in Pueblo, yes, this went north, confirmed you can look around, it's not in the yard.
Right.
And they go north.
Okay.
What do they find in Denver?
Nothing.
Yes.
And then
Nobody gets a point there.
And then they ask people in Denver where the our caboose is, and they're like, we sent it back to Pueblo.
We sent it back to Pueblo, specifically designated for scrap.
So now they gotta go drive it back to Pueblo.
I'm going to give you a second point for that.
Thank God for cell phones at this point.
Wait, and we're ignoring that there's a slight lag here. While they're in Denver figuring out where the caboose went after Denver, the caboose is already in Pueblo and has been there for a couple
And
hours.
some Carmen is sharpening his blue tip wrench right now.
Not quite. And this one you might get because I don't know if you guys know how Pueblo works. The Rio Grande does not directly interface with the steel mill.
Okay, it's CF&I, right?
Yeah, they're waiting to interchange because that was a Santa Fe thing, right?
No, it's the Colorado and Wyoming. It's its own little short line that serves the steel mill.
Interesting.
So the Rio Grande gets this caboose, it's designated for scrap, and they hand it off to the Colorado Wyoming, which directly interfaces with the steel mill. What is the Colorado and Wyoming, which is a local job, so it has a little bit more idea of what it's doing.
Ooh.
What do they say?
They go, oh, a car with good COTS doesn't look like. We'll take it.
Not quite.
They called the Pueblo yardmaster being like, hey, why the f put this caboose here?
We
that
just
would
gave this to
made
you.
sense,
Okay.
but they didn't go quite that far. They're railroaders, they don't give that much. Do you want to take a guess, Joel? They receive this car, and they know they're not supposed to be receiving this car. So what do?
They just leave it at interchange?
They refuse the interchange.
Oh, okay, there you go.
The Rio Grande comes to hand it off. The Colorado and Wyoming goes,
Not on our paperwork.
yeah, like they leave it at the interchange sidings and leave. Colorado and Wyoming comes out and goes, this isn't ours, and they swap it back onto the outgoing track, and they leave. The Rio Grande local comes, 2 or 3 shifts later, different crew comes to the interchange. What do they see?
A caboose.
What do they do with
Put it back on the Colorado Wyoming track.
No.
No,
Take it back.
They take it back to the Pueblo yard. So at this point,
Oh my God.
This is just a game of Pong,
Oh, it
except with 32 different teams.
it gets worse.
Oh boy.
So the car goes back to Pueblo. This is about the point that the model railroad people are where?
Denver?
Denver. So they start heading for Pueblo about the time that this caboose winds up back in the Pueblo yard where there is no room for it.
Okay.
The Rio Grande, and this is where the story gets even fuzzier. The Rio Grande switch crew at the time is told to get it out of the way.
Put it on the train to Denver.
Shove it off the end of the track.
No. How is Pueblo yard organized? What's special about Pueblo?
So giant Y.
What about the yard specifically? All the Rio Grande tracks are full.
Santa Fe.
Put it on the Santa Fe.
It's a joint yard.
Oh,
So out of the way to a Rio Grande switch crew.
It's on the Santa Fe
Fe.
side.
But the Santa Fe doesn't have any empty tracks either. So what do? You can't put it on its own track in the Santa Fe yard.
So you stick it on the end of the Santa Fe train.
Yeah, because it's just sitting there, right? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Right?
Right.
So then that train goes somewhere
To
else.
Albuquerque you go.
The model railroad folks show up in Pueblo, and finally, after talking to the Rio Grande crew, then the Colorado and Wyoming crew, then the Rio Grande crew again, they finally figure out vaguely what has happened. The caboose should be over there on that side of the yard. Is it there?
No.
It's headed southbound.
As you figured by now, the train they had coupled it onto had already been put together, had already been switch listed and everything, and left shortly thereafter. Where'd it go?
Albuquerque.
Denver.
Santa Fe. La Junta.
Nobody knows.
The Model Railroad Club
No clue.
is greeted with the realization the caboose has left and they have no idea where it is. So what's problematic about that?
It's their property and it's left behind desert trash.
Kind of. That is a problem.
They can't go back to the Grand or the SP at this point and go, hey, can we have another one?
They probably could.
Okay.
What's specific? We haven't given up on this caboose yet. We put a lot of work
They gotta go to
into
the Santa Fe.
Yeah.
We put a lot of work into this car. We
They
have
have
to
to
go to
get it
work.
back.
Okay, so
You gotta go to the Santa Fe and be like, where the f*** did caboose go?
and the Santa Fe says,
What caboose?
why?
Why? Why is it on our train?
Mark got it. Why does the Santa Fe not know where it is?
Because
Nobody knows.
It doesn't
what's on the
exist.
train.
It doesn't
it
exist.
doesn't exist.
The number is not on any roster. None of the codes are active.
There was no caboose on that train. You didn't, because it's not there.
It takes a week before the Railroad Club finally hears back from the Rio Grande in Pueblo. What do they say?
The caboose got sent back here. Got scrapped.
We found the
found
caboose.
it.
No, they say at this point, we figured out what happened. It got stacked on a Santa Fe train and left. Here's the number for Santa Fe dispatch. Good luck.
Cool.
Does anybody want to take a guess at what happens next, or how long it takes before something else becomes of the story?
A month.
6 months.
A week.
Mark gets it by prices. Oh, we've got a guess from Thomas.
I was going to say 5 years. Just to be safe.
Not quite.
From behind the camera.
Price is Right rules. Mark gets it. 3 months pass.
Christ.
Phone rings at the Pueblo Yardmaster's office. Where is the phone call coming from?
Amarillo.
New Orleans.
San Diego.
Further than that, other direction, not quite that far.
Needles?
No, close. Barstow.
Oh my gosh.
Phone call comes in from Barstow.
Hey, why do you want your cabooses in my yard?
What the hell is this?
Really? Bakersfield? They sound like Jersey?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
If you want to know how they sound in Bakersfield, you're looking at it.
And that really is the end of the story. After that phone call, obviously they got their together. The caboose was sent to Castle Rock. It was loaded on a truck, and it is under the same owner to this day in Parker. It's privately owned.
There you go. What a show.
At the end of that, Mark wins with 12 points,
Woo!
followed by Joel at 10 and Leighton with 8.
Wow.
And that's the end of the video.
That's the end of the video. Bye!